Hi everyone, it's Saran here. Happy Thursday. You might not be watching this on a Thursday, but Thursday is my favorite day of the week. So I just wish you, when you're watching this, a wonderful day. And I want to thank you for finding your way to SaranSays.com. I am here today reading, reviewing, and resourcing Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Do you guys see that little light there coming in from the window? So pretty. Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This was a really good book. I first want to say that I usually start my reviews off by talking about how I found out about books and how they found their way into my hands. But this book actually found its way into my hands a couple times. I was supposed to be reading this book and reviewing it a few months ago, and I could just not get through it. For some reason, I could not stay interested. And when I picked it up again last week, I was just marveled at how amazing it was. I was confused at whatever state and space I was in before when I could not connect with the text and could not really get through it, because I loved reading it the second time around. So I found out about this book because my friend told me about it. She is a lover of Coates. She marvels after his work, and she was just talking to me about it, saying how I needed to read the book, how I would gain from it. We also did a capstone in my journalism class for my senior thesis, and we had to talk about gentrification and how that was affected by race and class and things and such, and this text was also recommended as something I should read. So that is how Between the World and Me found its way between the world and me. Yes. So the book is basically about Coates' experience with being Black in America and raising a child, specifically a son. He actually dedicates the book to his son, and in the book he is talking, it's in second person, so he is talking to his son. I know that's not a tense that we are familiar with as much. Second person is when words like you and your are used. The book is actually written to someone. So he wrote the book for his son, to his son, telling him about all of the challenges that he would face as a Black man in America, and how it was his responsibility to be woke to those challenges, to face those challenges the right way, which I'm going to go into a little later in the review what the right way is. And basically just really talking about how Coates as a journalist and his perspective of the world was affected by his experiences. So how he was able to write this book based on the experiences that he had as a Black man in America. So he starts the book off around his childhood. He grows up in Baltimore. He goes to Howard University for college, which he refers to in the book as the Mecca. And afterwards, he has a child right out of college. He moves to New York, and then to Delaware, and then to Paris. He travels all around the world with his son and the mother of his child, and that's basically the time frame of the book. Towards the end, he brings it to the present moment, and he mentions the names of people like Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown, Freddie Gray, and Eric Garner. So the book was written not too long ago in 2015, and it has a very relevant, up-to-date perspective of police brutality and race relations in this country. Y'all see this light? Y'all see this light? The sun rays. I hope it's not messing up this video, because I will close my curtain. Let me do that. I'm back. So I'm taking a deep breath because this book was a very heavy read, not in a bad way. I felt that it was very informative, very educational, very passionate. I love reading books where I feel like the author has something to prove or something to say. It makes me feel like, I don't know, like I'm in a lecture, which I like because I'm a student of the world. I really like this book because of that reason. It felt like Coates really was trying to say, especially to Black people, I mean, specifically he's talking to his son, that you will not be able to live a regular, normal, easygoing, carefree life as a Black man in America. And while some people might argue with that and say, well, that's not true, race doesn't matter, you can be normal, you can be Black in your own Black community, whatever the case is, he is basically saying to his son, with the experiences that I have had and what I have seen with my own eyes, how my body has been hurt, how my eyes have been literally damaged by what I've seen, I want you to know that you must intellectually, spiritually, physically put yourself through a process of preparing to understand that the world was not designed for you to succeed as a Black man, as a Black person, period. So as a Black person reading this book, I felt very like, oh my God, somebody is checking me on my life. But it was also really interesting to think about how somebody who wasn't Black might receive this book, because what he's really saying is that there's so many things that separate you from the rest of the world. And I feel like no matter if you're a woman, if you're a minority, you could be a white man, but probably some circumstance in your life is going to make you feel, and in reality is going to separate you and isolate you in some ways. It doesn't have to be, you know, the most obvious ways, but in some way it's going to make you feel like there is some distance between you and the rest of society and the rest of humanity. And that is what he's saying. He's not saying feel sorry for yourself. He's not saying cry yourself to sleep every night. He's not saying throw a fit and be angry and break dishes and loot. He's saying break dishes, right? He's saying understand that it is your responsibility to yourself to be aware of your reality. It is your responsibility to be aware of your reality. And that is what makes this book so powerful. That is what makes this book stand out, because it is really a cry from reality to reality about reality. And it doesn't get any more real than that. I mean, he talks about Black people's responsibility to themselves. He also talks about how nothing can ever be changed if the group of people who were affected by what needs to be changed are the only people that are fighting for the change. So he is saying in order for the race relations to improve in this country, it cannot just be Black people fighting for that. All people have to be committed to everyone being treated equally and everyone being seen as valuable, as all bodies being seen as valuable. But his ultimate call to action is just that if you are a Black person, you understand the reality of your reality. You know, you understand what it means to be a target in a lot of ways. And it's not about, you know, walking around with your head down or walking around feeling like there's a target on your back or walking around thinking that it's you against the world, as much as it's about understanding that you have a responsibility to yourself to handle things accordingly, to respond to certain occurrences in the right way, you know, which he says is about understanding the place and space of every moment, understanding what works for some moments doesn't work for other moments. What works now might not work today. So he also talks about flexibility and adaptability and being able to adapt to your surroundings and to your current circumstances, right? To the present moment, living in the present moment as it relates to achieving better for you and your people. All in all, I would say that Between the World and Me is profound and meaningful because it gives another perspective on just generational racism, generational police brutality, how to cope with things that are changing but things that are staying the same, as of course this is a book from Coates to his son. I think that it's meaningful because it gives value to the Black person, to the Black mind, to the Black body in this current day and age. So make sure you check out Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Like I said, it's an easy read, 150 pages, small words, it's wonderful. It was a great book. Amazon.com has it. Of course, Amazon has everything, so that is no surprise. I want to thank you so much for watching this book review, and I want to let you know that you can find more book reviews, the 17 books I'm reading, resourcing, and reviewing in 2017 at saronsays.com. Happy Thursday again. Peace.